Yeah, hello and welcome back to another tier list of Super Autopets. Yeah, this time we will be really quick with this one. I wanna once again touch on the standard pack animals because, yeah, as you might know, I already did that, but I'm quite unhappy with how I ranked some of these animals. And we might have a look at my first rating too later. So, first off, and I think it's pretty clear that's an A tier. No questions about that. Beaver, dude, I don't like it that much anymore. I think it's C tier. You can argue B tier, but C tier, it doesn't have that much of an impact, but you can take it if you don't have anything else. Same with Cricket in my eyes. I think, obviously, Cricket is designed to work with Horse, but Horse is really bad, so the Cricket doesn't really have any synergy going, so I think C tier is fair. So our first S tier, honestly, since the latest update where you have 10 HP, I think the duck is extremely nice. Well, maybe before it was also S tier, but I think now it's definitely is S tier. It's really strong, it enables you to really pop off in the mid game, basically, it's amazing. So next up, fish. I love my fish. I take it whenever I can. Same with the ant. I think both of these are like my dream early game setup if I'm not playing duck. I think something like that, yeah. So, as I talked about a second ago, horse is straight up trash. That 1-1 stat line of the horse is so extremely bad. No, it's just not worth it. It's really bad, yeah. Mosquito, I think fair to put it in B tier. This one can make or break your game, basically. I don't really want to take it, but sometimes I do, and sometimes it wins me a game, sometimes it loses me a game. I think B tier is completely fine for that. Yeah, lately, Otter, I really enjoy playing that, and I think it could find a place in A tier, but for now I'll place it at B tier too, because sometimes you can't control where the buff is going to, and that really hinders its power levels, but it's really close to A tier. It's like really, really close, yeah. Next up, pig. Yeah, pig outside. Well, to be honest, beaver and pig are both animals I probably only really pick if I play cycling strategy, which I, by the way, did a video about, so you can check that out in the top right corner right now. If I didn't forget to link it, I probably have. So just check out my channel in that case. Yeah, in that strategy, both of these are really playable. Outside of that, I don't think so. Next, the crab. I think the crab is our next S tier. The crab is never the strongest unit on your board. Obviously, I mean, it copies the HP from the friend in front of it. But honestly, I think we all slept on crab. HP is so important in this game, and with a meat bone on top of it, it can really shine. It's really that good, yeah. If you have a slot open, a crab can fit nicely in there almost always. So yeah, it's a beautiful mid-game animal, honestly. It's really, really good. It's not too strong. I don't want to change that one at all, but it's really strong, and I love playing that. Next up, Dodo. After its nerf, before it was S tier, of course, but I think now it's A tier. Honestly, it's still really, really viable. I really love playing Dodo still. It's just not as broken as it once was, so it's fair to put it in A tier because it's still a strategy to play Dodo and Rooster, for example, and just you can still easily win with that. No problems there. Next up, dog. As you might know, I think the dog is probably the strongest minion in the game. This is S tier. Well, is it the strongest minion in the game? Well, it's probably the strongest unit in the game as a core piece of a strat, I think. So I think so. It's definitely S tier, no questions about that. Next up, elephant. C tier for me, because I do think elephant is quite good, but really lacks other units which can pop off with the elephant together. We got Camel, I know, and I think Camel is even better than Elephant, but the stat line of the Elephant is amazing. The effect is a quite hefty downside if you don't play Camel. It really you really shoot yourself in the foot if you actually play Blowfish or Peacock with Elephant, and that's, I think, the core problem of the Elephant, because it needs more units to actually work with. So that's it. That's why it's C tier, because sometimes you can pick it up and put it in the most left slots, so you can have a big unit there. But outside of that, it's pretty much not really viable at this time, I think. Next up, Flamingo, I sometimes pick up a Flamingo for one turn, and I think it's fine. It has so little HP that it doesn't really do that much, so I think C tier is okay. Maybe even B tier. Nah, I think C tier is totally fine with that, yeah. Hedgehog, yep, so hard to put a finger on it, because I love the design of it. It's so much fun to actually play around with that, like for example playing whale with Hedgehog, something like that, mushroom on Hedgehog. It's all really fun, but it's not that strong, unfortunately. I would really wish for it being a bit stronger than it actually is. Unfortunately, it's not that good. Peacock, C tier, I really don't like it because it suggests that it's pretty strong because it has quite a nice stat line as a 1/5, which grows in attack. It's quite a nice design, but it usually only traits 1-1 because when it attacks once, it has so little HP after that that it actually directly dies, and the first attack doesn't do any damage because it only has 1 damage, right? So that's why it feels stronger than it actually is in my eyes. C tier is, yeah, you could argue it belongs into D tier in my eyes, but I think that would be kind of harsh. C tier is fine. Rat, D tier, don't need to talk about it. It's trash, don't play it. Next up, shrimp. B tier, I think, for me. Obviously, the shrimp really pops off in dog, and I know some of you have commented that I probably overvalue shrimp in the cycling lineup, and you could be right with that, but if you do the math, the shrimp really does a lot in that strat. I think B tier is fine, but because by itself it won't do anything. You don't really pick up shrimp if you don't play cycling in my eyes, but if you do, it's really good, so B tier is probably fair. Next up, spider. Yeah, D tier still for me. Sometimes you can slot in a spider for 1 or 2 rounds, especially if you play whale and don't have anything else to play in front of whale, because you sometimes want to get rid of your ant pretty soon, and the spider is actually maybe better than the ant. Well, okay, really hard to, it really hurts to say that. I'm also not really sure if that's actually the case, but yeah, it's really bad. The spider is really bad. I stand by it. Next up, Swan. A tier, definitely. That monetary value also outside of cycling strat, but especially in the cycling strat, is so immense. It's 1 reroll. The Swan does so much that 1 reroll can do the world to you, so it's amazing. It's really that good, and it has a powerful stat line for a tier 2 as well. Next up, Badger. For me, Badger like crawled up into A tier lately because Badger Frontline is so fun and it's actually really good. Yeah, I got a few gameplay episodes, or at least one gameplay episode where I actually show Badger. Check that out if you like. So yeah, Badger is extremely good. Next up, Blowfish. C tier, same as Peacock, but the Blowfish is definitely better than Peacock. If you need to decide what to play between those two, always pick Blowfish. Better stat line, better effect, of course, but it's still not good. Next up, Camel. I am inclined to put Camel in B tier actually, because I really like the effect. Before this video, I thought of every animal and where I would put it, and I actually thought like Camel is not that good, but I never actually play Camel. I never really do, and it's because it's not that good. It's C tier. It's probably high C tier, not gonna lie. Let me arrange C tier here for a moment. I think something like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. Beaver that high? I don't know, something like that. Not sure. Next up, Giraffe. Well, honestly, you can play Giraffe, but if you do the math, you see that the Giraffe is actually kind of bad. That +1/+1 per turn is, yeah, of course it does something, but it's like not, those are not huge numbers. On top of that, it has so much of a weak body. A 1/3 doesn't do shit in game. And also it's highly dependent on positioning. And then only giving +1/+1, I really don't like it. So I never play Giraffe outside of Dodo. And even then, the Giraffe is not that good. So in my eyes, the Giraffe is actually D tier. But don't get me wrong, something like that. It's high D tier, but it's trash. It's not turbo trash, but it's trash. Next up, Kangaroo. B tier, it's fine. You can play it in some strats and be happy with it. It's not that good though. It's totally fine. Next up, Ox. I would actually say the same as I said about the Kangaroo, although the Kangaroo seems to be a bit better, just because you can place a Kangaroo behind a whale and after the whale a turtle. With that combination, the Kangaroo like really pops off, and you don't really have a space or a slot for something like that for the Ox. I think both of them are B tier. Let's move on. Rabbit, D tier. I don't like the food build that much, and if I actually play food, I play cat usually. I don't really have any space for rabbit, unfortunately. And next up is sheep, which is C tier. I mean, it has stats. I know it's fine. In cycling, it's really funny to pill it. I know. Outside of that, you probably will never play it. C tier is fine. Next, S tier is definitely Snail. Of course, you can only play Snail that often, I know, but if you actually can use its ability, it's amazing. It brings you back into the game. It's a game changer in that case. So yeah, Snail is actually that good. And Turtle, by the way, also is. I really like Turtle lately. I love the melon so early. You can, if you have a slot open, I mean, of course, Crab, Turtle, Swan are all really beautiful animals to slot in, especially because the turtle by itself, well, it has quite a weak body. A 2-4 is not that great, but it actually enables your core piece to attack at least twice because it provides the melon to it. So this is actually really, really good. Next up, Whale, B tier. I love the effect. I think it's fun to play around with it. I also know that it's not too strong. Yeah, the effect is kind of valuable, I know, but the actual value of that effect is really dependent on the unit it swallows, so I think B tier is totally fine. Next up, Bison. I actually think Bison belongs into A tier because same with the Snail. If you can get it to work, it's absolutely brilliant, and if you don't get it to work, you just don't pick it up, right? If you meet the requirements and have a level 3 guy on your board, you can just buy it and it just grows and it just scales with you. You don't have to care about it in any way, actually. Only maybe to level it up. But yeah, the requirements of the Bison are like pretty hard. They are harder to get, obviously, than the Snail is, because, yeah, so that's why those are not in the same tier, but they are both like really, really strong. So I think A tier for the Bison is totally warranted, yeah. Next, the Deer. I love Deer. I love playing that, but it's not too good because if you can get it early, it's amazing. It can really do amazing stuff on its own. If you can get it, like if you combine something in turn 3 or 4 and you get a deer out of it, well, is it even correct? No, if you can, wait, deer is tier 4, right? So if you combine something in turn 5 or 6, that's the correct one. Then the deer like can do shit on its own, no questions asked, but it really falls off quickly because the buzzer just doesn't do that much anymore later on. So you have to really, yeah, you have to play whale with deer together to get it going and to save some oomph for the late game. So yeah, it really falls off quickly, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would be quite a lot higher. Dolphin, I overvalue Dolphin quite a lot lately. I think Dolphin doesn't do shit at level 1. You really have to level it up in order for it to actually make a difference, I think. And only then it's kind of useful. I think it's in Versus it's something else. I would actually rate it higher in Versus than in Arena, but I'm talking about Arena, so I think C tier is fine. Hippo next. I think Hippo is kind of great. It's a build-around unit, obviously, but you can actually kind of easily play around with it because you, by the way, have the monkey, which also belongs into A tier in my eyes. And Hippo and monkey are like best friends, and yeah, Hippo is that strong. If you work around it and make it happen, it really will thank you. Next up, Penguin. Not that good, not that bad. If the buff hits like 2 or 3 guys, you're really happy. If not, you will never buy it. Next up, Rooster. Rooster is so strong it can really work on its own. Same with the Hippo, but the thing that it actually really, yeah, it does greatly is with Dodo still. So Dodo Rooster is amazing, but still on its own, it's absolutely amazing. It loves food, obviously, and when it multiplies the effect of the food, basically, and this is really great. Skunk. B tier in my eyes. In some threads, it's extremely important, especially if you play Hedgehog shit. Outside of this, you can slot it in. It's a nice tech unit, and in versus it's way more better than in arena again. But yeah, I think B tier is fine, and I think I'll lose some friends with saying that, but because I know some will put it in S tier. I don't think that it belongs into S tier. I think B tier is fine. Squirrel is trash. Next up, Worm, also trash, unfortunately, because I know that in the first tier list I ranked the Worm quite high. Yeah, I realized that was wrong. The Worm is trash, unfortunately. Next up, Cow, which is actually S tier. If you have a slot open, always buy Cow. That milk is so good. I think S tier is totally warranted. That buff is amazing. Next up, Crocodile. Same with the Dolphin. Also goes for the Crocodile. I think C tier is warranted. Parrot, dude, Parrot is so interesting. I kind of like its design, but I would actually put it in D tier, which it actually is at the moment. But it's not because the Parrot is that weak, but it's because the meta doesn't really support units like that. You don't really have another unit which the Parrot wants to copy, and the inherent flaw with its design is that take Monkey for example. You have a Monkey and you could place a Parrot behind the Monkey, but buying a second Monkey is always better than buying the Parrot, because if you now need space, you can still combine those two monkeys, and with the Parrot you have to sell it. And this is the inherent flaw, I think, with this design. So that's why it's in D tier. It could be like B or A tier if there was one key unit which actually could pop off together with a Parrot, but there are none at the moment. So that's why it's trash, unfortunately, right now. Rhino. I love to play Rhino because it's really fun to see it snowballing a bit, but it's a workaround rune like the Hippo, but the Hippo, I would always pick Hippo over Rhino actually. Scorpion, S tier, no questions about that, especially if you can get it to 21-21, because then it like ignores Melon, right? Really strong unit, extremely strong unit. Next up, Seal, extremely weak unit, unfortunately. It comes in so late and these effects are not gonna cut it in any way. They really need to buff this, I think. But I'm not too sure if they really need to, but as it is right now, it's pretty bad. Shark, B tier. It's fine. Same goes with the Kangaroo. The Shark is like designed to scale a bit better than the Kangaroo, but the Kangaroo is available way sooner than the Shark, so I think both of them are like on the same power level. Yeah, I think that would be fair. Turkey is S tier, no questions about that. I'm sure you know this. Yeah, Turkey is extremely good. Not really broken. Well, it maybe actually is. Cat, A tier, beautiful pick in the late game if you have money left and don't really need to buy units that much anymore. I think Cat is amazing, especially on level 2 with canned food. It really pops off. Yeah, Cat is beautiful. Same goes with Dragon. I think the Dragon is amazing, especially in cycling, but also outside of cycling. If you have 2 slots open, you can buy a Dragon and then start cycling with level 1 units, which you obviously don't always get. Triggering it like once or twice, or maybe even 3 times. Well, 3 times unlikely, but like 2 times per round is really, really awesome. Next up, Fly. The thing which makes the Fly great is actually the Turkey, and I think it's fair to put it in B tier because the effect by itself is kind of good, but you definitely need Turkey to enable it. And the fact that Turkey Fly is so strong is definitely because of Turkey, because those buffs by the Turkey are like really making a difference. It's not really because of the Fly. The Fly is good, yeah, but it's B tier good and not any better. Gorilla, yeah, bad. Next one, Leopard. I think B tier is also fine. Leopard, behind that Tiger and Monkey and Leopard in the front line, something like that is pretty funny. You can do that. I really have to force that sometime. For now, it's B tier because with the nerf of the Dodo, I think the Dodo always wants to buff a Rooster and not that Leopard anymore. So it kind of lost its main support character, I think. I'm B tier. I really have to test it out more. Mammoth, also B tier. I like its design. I think the +2/+2 in the late game does a difference sometimes, especially with Mushroom. It's getting like really fun, but on its own, it's not that great. You can chip it in if you don't have anything else to buy, but you most often have something else to buy, so you don't pick it up usually. Pelling a mammoth though is beautiful. It's an expensive snail for a round where you didn't lost last round maybe. Yeah, pelling the mammoth is extremely good. Next up, snake. A tier, no questions about that. Really is totally fun, especially with a tiger behind it. Obviously only has some strats where it actually works out pretty well, and others you never gonna pick it up. And last one, tiger, S tier. I love tiger, and you can argue that it also belongs into A tier, but I think S tier is totally fair because it has so many targets which it actually can improve on. So yeah, that's my tier list, and it's not that quick as I have hoped. So let me really quickly look up my initial ranking of these animals. Give me a sec. Okay, would you look at that? Let's just really quickly look through this. So Dodo was warranted, I think, because it was really S tier back then. Blowfish I highly overrated, as well as deer. Both of these were highly overrated. Rooster was fine. Turkey also, obviously. Worm, what the fuck? Yeah, just ignore that, please. A tier is okay. Mosquito belongs into B tier. Dog belongs into S tier. But I think it was A tier back then. I think that's fine. I overvalued a lot of mid-game stuff, I think. Peacock is way too high. Kangaroo is a bit too high. Whale is too high. Shark also too high. Interestingly enough, I put the cat there. Cool stuff. Fly belongs into B tier, I think. Crocodile. Yeah, I think I overvalue crocodile and dolphin, both of these. Not sure why I actually put dolphin below croc, because I actually think dolphin is always better. Interesting stuff. Well, what does the horse do there? Yeah, that's D tier, dude. Crab belongs higher. Monkey belongs higher. I think the rest is okay. You can argue with that. I think snake could be higher up and seal lower. Okay. Beaver, I think that's fine. The swan is just bad there. Definitely belongs higher. Turtle 2, bison 2, hippo 2. And cow, what the fuck? What did I think? I don't know what got into me there. Cow definitely belongs higher. Didn't play around with dragon back at this time, so I think, yeah, I did know better. Duck, same goes for duck, honestly, because, and badger too. I didn't really know about the real power levels of these guys. Penguin, yeah, I see why, because penguin, like, it feels really underwhelming, but it actually does a difference. If it won't make a difference, you're never gonna pick it up, but I see why it did this. Yeah, rest is fair, I guess. Flamingo, that's harsh. Flamingo belongs a bit higher. So yeah, I think my tier list now, let me change back to it. I think my tier list now is a bit more warranted, or a bit more fair, and represents the matter a bit better. Yeah, there you have it. I hope this one actually helped out for you. If it did, please let me know, and enjoy my end card, and see you next time. Bye. As always, if you like this video, never tell me or your friends, and also please never share this around. Also, please make sure to not like this video. If you want to see more content like this, definitely don't subscribe to my channel and never check out this video displayed over here. See you in the next video. I'm out.